What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country, daily news that you need to know about money, investing, the stock market, what's going on in Washington, D.C., the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, and everything you need to know about on a daily basis. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button right now so you don't miss out on new videos that come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thank you so much for hitting the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here today. We'll start with this here. There's new information coming out about the Ukraine and Russia development. Check this out.
40 past the hour, the White House is warning that Russia could launch an attack on Ukraine any day now. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan yesterday said any conflict would come at, quote, enormous human cost, but adds that the U.S. and its allies are ready to respond to any contingency.
We're in the window where something could happen, that is a military escalation, an invasion of Ukraine could happen at any time. We believe that the Russians have put in place the capabilities to mount a significant military operation into Ukraine, and we have been working hard to prepare a response.
A new U.S. intelligence assessment finds Moscow has already assembled 70% of the forces it would need to launch a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The report says that if the Kremlin were to attack, the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, would be the most likely to be captured in the early days of the invasion, possibly within the first 48 hours. It also says that as many as 25,000 Ukrainian troops could be killed or wounded, and up to 5 million people could become refugees.
So, Tom, I'm curious. What is your take on where the United States is right now and NATO allies? Are we adequately prepared for a possible Russian invasion, or have we taken the appropriate steps to deter such an invasion?
You know, it's a hard question because there isn't much we can do. Ukraine's not a NATO ally. We have reinforced our existing NATO allies. We've sent troops to those areas as a show of solidarity with our allies. But if this happens, it's not going to involve us. It's going to be a cross-border invasion from Russia to Ukraine that isn't going to involve U.S. forces or NATO. And all we can do is warn about sanctions and about how difficult we can make life for the Russian oligarchs if they do this.
Is Biden doing enough right now? Is Biden doing enough right now to send the right messages?
I think he's doing everything he can. Yeah, I think he's doing. I don't think there's much more he could do. He certainly can't threaten a military response. I wish he were being a little clearer, and the White House has started to go in this direction about talking about the way that they could really make this hurt for the people around Putin. And their money and their ability to move easily through the capitals of the world. But I think that, you know, at this point, there isn't much Biden can say. This whole thing is inside Putin's head. Only he knows why he would do it and what he wants to do. And deterring that is that's a really hard job, especially when this isn't part of the NATO alliance that we're talking about here.
So the question is here, if Russia does invade Ukraine, what will the fallout be? How quickly will it happen? And then the sanctions that the United States and NATO will do against Russia, what will the fallout be there? And will China back Russia? And what will happen? What will the escalation be here afterwards? And what will thereby then happen with the following after that? Yeah, so I mean, apparently the United States think that this is going to happen. So it doesn't look like Russia is backing down. Also, what's interesting here is you can see here how a Russian invasion of Ukraine could impact Americans economically. Yeah, check this out. Nobody's probably thought of this really. A potential Russian invasion of Ukraine could negatively impact the pocketbooks of average Americans who are already facing higher prices and rising inflation. And this could echo through markets worldwide, including for US voters. Trade between the US and Russia totaled $35 billion in 2019, according to White House data. 16 times smaller than that of US China trade, but nonetheless still $35 billion. And Russia is the 20th largest supplier of US goods imports and the 40th biggest export market of US producers. Russia is a significant source of US energy imports and a key supplier for European nations as well, who may lean harder on America to make up for fuel unavailable from Russia in the event that this happens. Get this, Russia was the third biggest supplier of foreign petroleum for the US in 2020. The third biggest supplier of petroleum, according to the US Energy Information, responsible for 7% of imported oil. Russia also imported $13 billion in mineral fuels for the states in the previous year, more than half of all goods sent to America. Experts point to changes in oil prices as the first tangible effect that could be seen if in the U.S. if Russia does invade Ukraine. Quote, since energy costs are a significant driver of inflation and in of themselves has been a pretty significant upswing since Joe Biden took office. I don't think people should quickly dismiss the potential kitchen table impact of a Russian invasion into Ukraine with a potential significant sharp run up in energy prices. Yeah, just what we need, right? Another spike in gas and energy. Yeah, I know. Another thing that's probably likely to happen is if this does happen, we're probably likely going to see a fall in stock markets as well. Um, it's probably just something that would likely occur. Again, predicting stock markets. If you're invested in the stock market, if you have money in a 401k, money in a pensions, remember that they say about 50% of Americans do have money in the stock markets nowadays. Um, so predicting them is pretty difficult to do. But over time, as we've looked at these graphs, here's a graph of the Dow Jones stock index since 1992. You can see it's gone up significantly over time. And yeah, it has some dips along the road. But if you are a long term investor and you just hold, it goes up significantly. Back in 1992, the Dow Jones was at 3,300, and now it's at 35,000. So your money would have went up 10 times or more. So for example, if you had $100,000 in a 401k back in 1992, now it's worth over $1 million, just for round numbers there. Okay. Or if you had $10,000, now it's worth over $100,000. Okay. But if we do see a Russian invasion, we're likely going to see one of these little dips here. How much? Well, nobody knows. We'll have to see. Jill Biden, the first lady, says that free community college likely won't be in the spending bill. This was one of the items or the stimulus package. This is one of the items that was potentially going to be in the stimulus package. But she said today, here's what she said today. First Lady Jill Biden confirmed that the administration won't be able to deliver free community college to Americans, at least not yet, acknowledging that a major provision of President Biden's economic agenda is off the table. Quote, Congress hasn't passed the Build Back Better legislation yet, and free community college is no longer part of that package, she said in the remarks at a community college summit on Monday, this morning. She says, quote, we knew that this wasn't going to be easy. Joe always said that. Still, like you, I was disappointed because, like you, these aren't just bills or budgets to me, to you, right? We know what they mean for real people, for our students. And it was a real lesson in human nature that some people just don't get that, she added. 2 years of free community college to all eligible students was part of the Build Back Better agenda initially, and a signature initiative for the First Lady, who is a longtime community college professor. She said, quote, "We've seen how entire towns can be transformed when colleges and private companies work together to train students for jobs that are desperately needed with skills like manufacturing or modernizing our electrical grid." Meanwhile, if you watched my previous video with Senator Joe Manchin's interview, if you didn't watch that, I'll link you to that at the end of this video. Joe Manchin confirmed that he basically is going to be working on a new stimulus package with the Democrats, and that new package must go through the elements. It must go through the committee process and for him to vote on it, basically confirming that he will be working on a new package with the Democrats. And he was there with Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski, and she could possibly vote on this as well. And so we talked about several different things that he talked about with this new package. And yeah, so he is considering a new package and multiple different things in this new stimulus package, which is much, much different than him basically saying, no, he's not going to vote. He's just going to vote no on everything. So that's actually pretty good news that he's actually, going to be voting potentially on this new package as opposed to just a hard no. So that's quite a change in opinion from Senator Joe Manchin here. The IRS is also shifting 1,200 employees from other duties to whittle down a tax return backlog. So if you've been watching my show, you know that tax returns may be delayed for some people, but I have seen some people in the comments already say that some people did already get their refunds for this year, for 2022. So congratulations if you're part of that. So if you're part of if you filed early and you got your refund already, congratulations. You kind of went through the automatic refund process. Where the delays end up is if something is wrong on your refund, then you get thrown into you got to get confirmed through the manual process. And that's where those long, long refunds are, or long refund delays, I should say, are. And that's where someone has to manually look at your tax return. And that's where we see these significant delays up. So, yeah, that's why you want to cross the T's and dot the I's, and not cross the I and dot the T. Reverse it. Strike that, reverse it this year. So definitely want to make sure. Hopefully you got your letters from the IRS and you got your W-2s or your 1099s this year, and you're definitely want to make sure everything is correct. Hopefully you got your letters from your child tax credits. You know how much they paid you. You know how much is owed to you. Again, I just want to confirm with everybody that if you're getting the child tax credits, you have to file a tax return. If you're normally a non-tax filer, but you have children, you have to file a tax return to get the rest of the money. Okay, so there's no other way to get the rest of the child tax credits if without a tax return. You're going to have to file a 2021 tax return to get the rest of the child tax credits. Okay, just so everybody's aware of that, because there's an extra $1,500 to $1,800 per child that you are owed, but you have to file a tax return to do that. Okay, just to be clear on that. Also, if you didn't get stimulus check number 3, you can file a tax return on that as well to get that. You put on line 30 the amount that is owed to you or any dependents that you have for a stimulus check. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well. Okay, you can do this through TurboTax. You can do this through H&R Block. You can file a simple tax return online. You can just go to Google and put in IRS file a simple tax return. You could do it right on the IRS's website if you feel comfortable enough doing it yourself. Or you can do it through, like a family member. If you have an uncle or something, or somebody in your family that knows taxes and can help you out or something like that. Or just go to, like I said, an H&R Block or something like that and get a little bit of help or something like that. So, or TurboTax if you want to do it online, with a little bit of software help. But definitely, I've gotten some questions like, Jimmy, do I need to file a tax return in my case? And, it's it's hard to give an individual tax advice because, I'm talking to tens of thousands of people here every single day, right? If you're a non-tax filer and you're owed the child tax credits, you're going to need to file a tax return because you have to claim that money for the child tax credits. Okay. If you're owed a stimulus check, like if you didn't get your stimulus check number 3, you're going to need to file a tax return as well because you have to claim that stimulus check. If you didn't get stimulus check number 3, you're going to need to file a tax return as well. And on line 30, put the amount that is owed to you if you didn't get a stimulus check for stimulus check number 3. Okay. If you didn't get stimulus check number 1 or number 2, you can file a 2020 tax return from the previous year or an amended 2020 tax return if you already filed them and you didn't claim them for either you or any dependents, and you can get the money that way. If you filed the tax return and didn't realize that you could get the money this way, you can file an amended tax return. You can go back and amend it, okay, and claim stimulus check 1 or 2. Those were underneath former President Donald Trump, and you can claim those stimulus checks, okay? Because remember that stimulus checks are actually tax rebates, okay? They're kind of like tax refunds, okay? Even if you don't normally file a tax return, okay? But if you don't end up actually getting the stimulus check, you get it by claiming a tax return, and that's how you claim it if you don't get it, okay? They're advanced tax rebates, because if you don't get it in advance, then you file the tax return to get it at the normal time of your tax refund. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, but if you're not like owed a child tax credit or the stimulus check, there's also the earned income tax credit. I just did a video about that where low income people can get anywhere between $1,500 and $6,700 as well. You might want to file a tax return for that. I'll link you a video on that here that I just did as well. You might want to file a tax return for that. See, there's a whole bunch of different reasons on why people might need to file a tax return, and it's hard to give somebody an individual advice. I can't really do that through through this format. But I mean, if you're not really owed a child tax credit or a stimulus check or anything like that, probably not. Probably not. Okay. But if you're owed the child tax credit or stimulus check, probably yeah. Child tax credit for sure. Stimulus check, yeah, because you want to get that money, right? Okay. I'll also link you to how you can get up to $6,700 through the earned income tax credit if you're low income on your tax return as well, how that works as well. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel right now if you haven't yet, so you don't miss out on stuff like this. I cover all sorts of stuff like this that you guys need to know about, like this. It's not just stimulus check news. It's daily news you need to know about, tax stuff like this that you guys need to know about, money like this, stimulus programs like rent assistance, mortgage assistance, utility assistance. I cover all sorts of stuff like this that you need to know about. And if you're not subscribed to our channel, you could literally miss out on stuff like this. New programs like this pop up all the time, and it's a lot of this stuff is basically, if you don't know about it, you could miss out on this type of money. So subscribe to our YouTube channel right now if you haven't. It's completely free to do so. All you need to do is just literally click the subscribe button down below, and then click the bell icon to get reminders when we go live. Also help us reach 400,000 subscribers. We're literally almost there. We're like 399,000 subscribers almost. And I'll keep you up to date here. So click here to watch our newest video, which is the Joe Manchin interview if you haven't seen that next. And click here to see how low income can claim that up to $6,700 here as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.